So what is the MGrx? So it's an all-in-one solution for meibomian gland dysfunction, no disposables, which is key, obviously. You can do multiple treatments with one device. It's 5 to 10 minutes of clinician time total. We would expect that you would have ROI in 20 to 30 patients. 4-year warranty, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, not a lot to go wrong on this device. So just to get familiar with what the parts of the device are, this you'll see in this next video I'm going to show you. This is a preheater, and the only purpose of that is to preheat these 3 different instruments that we're going to use. The handheld device, of course, is lithium-ion powered, has a heater in it. And all we're doing with the preheater is saving battery and saving your time. Because if we didn't have the preheater, you could use the device by itself, but it's going to take you 3-4 minutes to heat up these instruments to 110 to 113 as the treatment temperatures. And there's just really no reason to do it. So we created this preheater such that now switching times are more like 45 seconds to switch instruments and get it up to speed. Up to temperature, I should say. And each of these instruments are autoclavable. You can sterilize them using alcohol, whatever your current method is that you would treat any surgical or stainless steel instrument, you can do with these instruments as well. And the 3 steps I'm going to take you through here in this video, thermal debridement. So you're all familiar with debridement. We've added heat to debridement. So what does that do? So what the feedback I get from clinicians, I can use less pressure. I'm melting, the caps off the glands. That's the feedback that we're getting. So pretty easy, pretty quick, less than 2 minutes. Up to you. Maybe you'd have your tech do this. Maybe you wouldn't. It's really kind of up to you and maybe the laws of your state. I'm not sure how each state would handle that. The thermal lid massage, definitely have your tech do this. It's 2 minutes per eye. Using ultrasound gel, applying heat, light pressure, you're all familiar with that idea. And this is, all using heat and light pressure to get ready for thermal expression. So now we go in with an expressor that is heated, external paddle only, external to the eyelid, and you are going to use controlled pressure. So it's not excessive pressure, doesn't hurt. And you're going to be able to express those glands very easily. So the treatment itself, the whole protocol is very comfortable. I've had it done twice. I'm ready for a 3rd one. So whoever wants to give me that one out there in the audience, I'm happy to come by. So let's go ahead and look at each step. We're just going to kind of hit the highlights here. This is our in-service video, so it's about 7 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Don't worry. So I'll turn down the music here. You kind of So you've kind of heard me talk about this already, so I'm going to go ahead and skip forward here. I didn't want to skip that far. So here we are loading the first instrument. That's the debridement instrument. And it's just a double click of the control button that says, yep, I've loaded the instrument. And then it's going to take about 45 seconds for the device to check temperature, assuming you're using the preheater and it's heated for 5 minutes or so, it's going to be ready to go. What you just saw there were some anesthetic drops, for this treatment. And you can see he's just using light pressure and just scraping off the biofilm and kind of decapping those glands. Just pulling down the lower lid now, pretty easy access there. And the temperature of that instrument is 42°C. Okay, so now we're going to the second step, which is thermal massage. Again, loading the instrument, just double clicking it, saying we're ready to go. Now this one, we are going to put some ultrasound gel on the tip just to help with heat transfer and decrease friction. It does have a 2-minute timer built in, so you just press and hold the mode button, you're going to get a 2-minute timer. Again, this is very comfortable. Patients typically love this step, and I have to say, I actually loved debridement. I didn't think I would, but I really did. It felt really good. Just a tip came up there in terms of battery life. You should be able to get two treatments, so 2 patients on 1 charge. If you're planning to do a whole bunch in a row, you can plug in the instrument while you're doing massage. As you can see, it's not fine motor control. The lid is closed. So you could have that plugged in, and that way you're saving battery, and you'd probably get another patient out of it. So we'll go ahead and move on here to expression. So we're just he's gonna go ahead and load that instrument as well. And we're gonna apply the anesthetic drops again. You know, it's been 6 or 7 minutes maybe since the first drops went in. So you can access both the upper lid. So he's just kind of pulling up the lid there. And depress and hold. The pressure is controlled, so you can't put more than about 10 psi on that eyelid. It locks out such that you can't exceed that. And you can see the angle of those paddles. So he just switched it now. So he's doing the lower lid. He's got easy access to the lower lid. And then for the upper lid, you would just flip the device around, and the angle would be correct for that as well. And here you're going to see some pretty good expression, because we've debrided, we've massaged, and again, we're keeping heat on that right there. So that is pretty much it in terms of the 3 steps. As you can see, whoops, that is not a whole lot of in-servicing, new learning required to use the MGrx. I just have probably another 5 to 6 minutes here, if you can hang in with me, just on our clinical study results. So this is on the MGrx. We enrolled 37 patients. We used speed score and tear breakup time, and also meibomian gland scoring to see pre and post 30-day treatment with the MGrx. And in terms of speed score, we saw 42% improvement and a more than doubling in tear breakup time after 1 treatment. So again, 72 eyes, so definitely statistically significant, and you can see a pretty significant improvement there. Tear breakup time, like Dr. McMurrin there said, more than a doubling in tear breakup time. And I think most impressive is the gland scores. So we only did this on 26 patients, not the 37. But you can see that these patients were really badly in need of help here. This is basically a few glands producing anything. So a score of 5. And then after 30 days after 1 treatment, we've increased, 4-fold, 5-fold in terms of secretions coming from those glands. So that tells me that you now have glands producing that you certainly did not prior to treatment. So I think that's really impactful. And then some of the quotes, from the patients in the study, they can now wear their contacts again. Heard this several times, patients going from not being able to wear contacts to be able to wear them, 6 hours a day after 1 treatment with the MGrx. So, I think that's really meaningful and impactful, for your patients. In terms of, pricing and cost, I know everybody's probably curious. about what people are charging and what patients are willing to spend. So we have done some market research, and you're probably all familiar with LipiFlow, and maybe you have the LipiFlow. And what we found a couple of years ago is that the average per treatment cost is, $800 to $1,200, about $950 on average. And we asked the question, so how many are they doing per month? About 5 patients a month. Now, obviously, that's nowhere near what you could be doing, because you're seeing a heck of a lot more dry eye patients than that. And the question we asked the docs is, if you could charge $350, how many patients would you expect to treat? And the answer was more like, 17. And so we've just surveyed our own users of the MGrx, and the cost that they're charging patients is $300 to $700 per treatment, average of $500. And about 40% of our docs are combining it with IPL, as we just presented, and they do expect to do 15 to 20 treatments per month. So kind of right in these, similar to these numbers here. Additional pricing packages, we've seen $1,000 for 3 treatments. We talked about quarterly package type package. And then one of our big LASIK groups here in California has adopted the MGrx and is charging just $200 to get an MGrx treatment pre or post LASIK, because they know that's really going to help their outcomes, as dry eye is such a big problem with these patients. So what are patients willing to spend, right? So we asked 52 dry eye patient, or 51, sorry, and a national sample. And we said a $400 treatment, explained, kind of the treatment. And almost 40% were extremely or very likely to pay $400 for a treatment, and 33% somewhat likely. So I think that's, those are pretty good numbers, considering all the dry eye patients that are walking through your door. 40% I think is a great number. So if you kind of put all that math together, this number, 41 dry eye patients, was a number we got from the docs as well. How many would benefit from this type of treatment? And then if you take 39% of patients would pay $400 for treatment, you end up with about 16 patients a month that, really should be getting a treatment and should be willing to pay for it. So if you just put that together at $400, your annual profit on just the MGrx alone is almost $77,000. So, that's a nice profit margin with, again, no additional disposable costs. And maybe more importantly, you're going to be delighting, 16 patients a month and keep them as long-term patients. And obviously the device is paid for, very quickly. So last slide here. I'm happy to take a look if there's any chat questions or anything, but we are being pretty aggressive with our pricing. We want to really continue to grow and get these devices out to as many of you as we can. So normal price is $12,995. We're offering $4,000 off that if you just want to straight purchase a device. Comes with a 4-year warranty. There's no disposables, and there's a 30-day no risk return. You go ahead and purchase it. We'll ship it to you. If for some reason you don't like it, you can send it back to us for a full refund. We know you're going to like it. If you'd rather look at stocking our consumables, which we would love for you to do, with a commitment of just 2 cases a month that can be combined from our ultra dry eye, our dry eye compresses, and our ultra macular, $1,300 a month is kind of your spend per month. And I think any, somewhat busy practice can do that very easily. There's a nice profit margin on those products. They work very well, clinically proven, and you are committed to a 24-month commitment on that. You could cancel at any time and just kind of pay the difference that you didn't kind of pay off. You could look at it as a lease, I guess, for those 24 months, but pretty easy to work with without, any money, putting any money down. And if that is too much commitment for you, we try to be flexible here. Whoops. You can just put $5,000 down, and then you're committed to a $200 payment per month for 24 months. Pretty easy. I mean, shoot, a couple of patients a month would easily pay for that. But we're actually going to give you a 15% refund against any of our consumables purchase. So basically, without making a commitment to, any particular purchase per month, on a quarterly basis, we just refund whatever you 15% of whatever you purchase. So real simply, if you were to purchase $4,000 quarterly, you would earn a refund to take care of those payments. So basically it would cost you nothing. So that's really all I had. And again, I apologize that we didn't have Dr. Newton here. That was certainly the plan, and I'll have to find out what happened. But hopefully everything's okay with him. Any questions before I sign off from anyone out there? And of course, you can here. I'll give you. You can certainly contact us. At this email below. We are going to follow up with, like I said, a recording of this webinar, and of course, the dry eye samples that we promised. Looks like we don't have any questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign off then. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Oh, is there something here? Somebody asked, you mentioned compresses for 5 minutes a day. I've heard many standard recommending 15 minutes. I really don't see why that would be necessary. Again, you saw our case study, 5 minutes a day. We've got a couple studies, 5 minutes a day in our case study, doubled tear breakup time in 5 days, 5 minutes a day. In our protocol, in our published study, it's 5 minutes a day. So, we've been recommending that for 10 years. And again, we have published, clinical data on that. So yeah, I really don't see any reason why you would need 15 minutes. And I don't know, maybe if you're referring to MiboFlow or something like that. And, I'll also say that in our protocol, right, with the MGrx, we're only doing 2 minutes of heat massage per eye. And we treated, 100 patients to kind of figure out, does it really make a difference? Do we need 5 minutes per eye? And we were able to get to the point where when you add the thermal debridement to the thermal massage, to the thermal expression, we were able to get that down to 2 minutes and have, the excellent results that we're getting. So yeah, I don't see any reason why you'd need 15 minutes. It does feel good to use those compresses. So ours will stay hot and moist for 10 minutes. So if you want to use it for 10 minutes, go ahead. It feels great. But yeah, I don't see a reason for that. And feel free to jump in, anybody else, if you've got a different experience, but that's our experience. Sure. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you all. It's probably getting late where you are. Thank you again, and we'll be following up with you, and hopefully we'll be able to get the MGrx into your practice and get you to start really helping your patients that are suffering from dry eye. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.